Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of September 4th through the 10th of 2023. All right, so this week we have the third quarter moon of the lunar cycle, which is really good to implement anything from the last full moon, which was last week around Wednesday. And so a good week for challenging ourselves, really integrating and implementing. Usually it's a lot easier to do so this late in the lunar cycle, so it can end up usually being quite a constructive week here. We do have Jupiter going retrograde on Monday, so it is good to maybe start to rehash some possibilities and potentials that maybe we were open-minded about earlier in the year. We could go back and rehash, which could end up supporting those possibilities for the next 5 months here during that retrograde. Mercury is, of course, still retrograde, so it's good just to be flexible and adaptive in general at the moment. And this week is the halfway point of that, with Mercury conjunct the Sun on Wednesday. So halfway points, maybe we do get some insights. It is good to bring extra attention to perhaps some of those communications and ways we're thinking about things, as the Sun will be really strong over Mercury here midweek. But good to do a bit of a status check there, and perhaps maybe some things shifting with what we've been redoing since this past roughly week and a half with Mercury retrograde. But all in all, there's trines to Jupiter from both Mercury and the Sun here, and so good week for, again, maybe thinking a bit open-minded and seeing some possibilities, even though these are going through a bit of reflection. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, September 4th. And as you can see, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. You will not see them using the visible sky like this, and you will notice the sign placements are different from what I'm mentioning here. So if you are new to this channel, definitely check out the link down below for more information on using the visible sky, called True Sidereal Astrology. All right, so let's do a bit of a recap here just to see where everything is coming into the week. We did start this whole lunar month with Leo, and we still do have the Sun and now Mercury retrograde in Leo. So Leo is all about connecting to our hearts, cultivating a bit of that self-expression, and connecting to the things and people that we love in life, whether it's hobbies, interests, whether it's those we love, whether it's creative self-expression, whatever it might be. It's a really good time to, again, connect with our heart and have a bit of that fun, playful, and creative energy. Now, with Mercury retrograde, it is good to be reflective on this, and perhaps there's some things that maybe we are creating or we are enjoying or have been that we can now go back and maybe redo, rethink, approach in a different way. And Mercury retrogrades, we do actually learn a lot, and we do actually get a lot done. It's just that if it's particularly about redoing or rethinking, then it flows quite well. But all in all, it's just good to be very flexible and adaptive with, of course, that Mercury retrograde, and again with this lunar cycle regarding Leo's self-expression. Now we've had Venus dip back into Cancer. She just went direct last Sunday, and so she is very, paused in the sky, very stationed in the sky earlier in the week. And so it's a good time to maybe start to see, really start to implement if there's been any shifts of awareness regarding what we value. And when it comes specifically to values that are more personal in nature, Cancer is all about connecting more with our personal lives, home, family, the past, and even our own caring and nurturing sides as well. And just sometimes simply our emotions, our feelings, and our bodies. So good to see the value of this and maybe start to implement some of these values now that Venus will be slowly gaining momentum while she finishes that short dip into Cancer and then goes back into Leo next week. Mars is in improvement-oriented Virgo, so when it comes to our actions and where we're putting our energy, good to approach things just a bit analytical, a bit methodical, and again, improvement-oriented with that. And he is sort of leading the way here, as of course that will be the next lunar cycle, and where the Sun and of course the fast movers will be moving into next there. So everything here on the same part of the sky in terms of the fast movers, and in this case matters of the heart, connecting a little bit more personally and seeing the value of that with Venus, and getting things done in a way that's analytical and improvement oriented is fantastic. All right, so breaking this down each day of the week with Monday here, Jupiter will be retrograde, going station retrograde. Now, we usually don't feel this that personally unless, of course, you are Jupiter ruled. If you have strong Sagittarius or even Pisces in your chart, then, of course, this will affect you more personally. But generally, this is a bit collective as Jupiter is a slow mover. But either way, it's a good time early this week to pause a bit with anything we've been, again, open-minded about and really just our beliefs of life. Jupiter is all about our perspective of life. And during these retrogrades, which happen once a year, it's good to be a bit reflective on that. So good to pause. Again, anything you've been open-minded about, you've been expanding your perspective about, or even learning about this year, good to treat the next 5 months as a way to maybe go back and rethink, rehash, and approach life in a way it's still a bit flexible with some of these opportunities. Now, with that station, Mercury will be trining up to Jupiter for the second contact during this Mercury retrograde. And so it's nice to see that there's a synergy here between both retrograde planets. Now, both of these planets do deal very much with our perception of life. Mercury's the more practical, Jupiter's the more perceptual, or higher, you could say. And so nice to see them in harmony. Usually it's a good time for thinking about things in a way that's still grounded yet open-minded, practical yet free-spirited, and we can notice that synergy. Even though, again, both planets are retrograde, it's good to just all in all be flexible with our perception of things and, again, what's possible and maybe even what we're learning about or can be learning about. But nice to see that synergy there between what you might call the left brain and right brain, which can be very supportive for all things, cerebral, all things dealing with understanding, learning, and again, just perceptual based things like that. All right, now the moon will be in Aries here on Monday, and so just a good early part of the week really for, again, taking some of that action and initiative towards things, but mostly because we'll be in that third quarter moon really apexing on Wednesday, which is the square between the sun and moon, marking the 1 week since the last full moon. So last week we likely had a new perspective on things, maybe even made some shifts and changes for the lunar month. And so this is, again, a really good week to implement those, integrate them, and challenge ourselves to move things forward. Now, one of the particular ways of challenging ourselves, and particularly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, will be with how to integrate some of this more grounding energy of Taurus, which is all about taking things a bit more slowly, steadily, stopping to smell the roses. This can be very different from the energy we have with Leo, and even with the trines to Jupiter, which are more fire, and in this case maybe more inspirational, or maybe more about self-expression or fun, and maybe wanting more of that creative energy. So how can we integrate both the fire and the earth here, I think, is a great way of working with this week. Cultivate some of those inspirations, self-expression in a way that's still connected to that inner stability, groundedness, self-worth, self-value, and even connecting to the external natural world as well. Nature, a good meal, some natural aesthetics, some grounding energies. Again, really good to challenge ourselves with. We could say all week long, but particularly this middle part. And it is this middle part where we do come to that halfway point of the Mercury retrograde. And so again, good to maybe see that things are maybe shifting a little bit with whatever we've been rethinking or rehashing or redoing this past roughly week and a half, from this point, from about midweek of this week. And the sun can drown out the Mercury energy. And so in this case, it is good to bring extra attention to what we're thinking about and to our communications or correspondences as well. Okay. So extra mindfulness there, extra intention, not because we want to avoid anything or whatever, it's just it can be supportive to do so because the sun, so Mercury's not visible, only the sun. So the sun's drowning out that energy. Sun does represent a lot of that Leo energy of self-expression and passion, or just, it's just more of the fire and just pure consciousness in a sense. Pure consciousness in a sense is drowning out the more mental and cerebral side of things. And so by bringing extra attention to the mental and communicative stuff can kind of balance that out, and bringing it up to the surface, like through journaling, writing, and just sheer communication or getting it out and visible, can really help with that if you're feeling a bit of that combust energy, fiery energy, drowning out the mental energy there of this conjunction. But again, the halfway point, there can be shifts, so it's a good time to really listen. The sun is a very spiritual, fundamental part of ourselves. It's that pure consciousness, and so the mind can be very receptive to that right now, and through that we can definitely gain new perspectives on things. And again, that can support a lot of the reflection we can be doing or redoing we can be doing with the retrograde. Even things that have been going through redoing during the Mercury retrograde can take a nice shift and step in the right direction during the halfway point with this conjunction. All right, so that's midweek there. Again, third quarter moon, good to challenge ourselves, implement that energy. As we do get to the Friday time period, the sun will then trine Jupiter. So again, nice to see Jupiter in good harmony this week. And this here, again, just supporting a little bit more of that open-mindedness and Jupiterian things. Jupiter's about adventure. It's about adventures of the mind, which is, again, philosophy, spirituality, learning, all that kind of more right brain stuff. But even quite literally, it could be a good time to maybe cultivate a little bit of adventure in your own life, literally, whether it's through some travel or maybe just some hikes or something, getting out, having a bit of that jovial, maybe a bit of an optimistic support can be great. Again, while rehashing and rethinking our sort of what life is about, our beliefs on life, what's possible in life with this Jupiter retrograde. All right, and then as we do get to the weekend here, Friday and Saturday, the moon will be in Gemini. So again, supporting a bit of that cerebral energy. Maybe Friday and Saturday, particularly good for learning, picking up that book, maybe doing some studying, or social. Gemini is great for connecting with our peers, our neighbors, those of equal status, everyday people here, and learning, being open-minded, being interested, having a bit of that communication can also be good. And then the week does close off here with the moon in Cancer, and so that's going to really be closing off the lunar month, because next week, about midweek, we'll have the new moon. And so Sunday, perhaps letting the energies die down a little bit, preparing for the ending of the lunar month. And with Cancer, connecting to, again, maybe some of those values with our emotions, feelings, and that personal life energy that Venus is helping us implement, going direct now. All right, everyone, so that is the week in a nutshell. Put simply, third quarter moon, good week to integrate, implement anything from really last week's new perspectives or shifts, quite literally. We are on the halfway point of that Mercury retrograde, so good to, again, continue to be flexible and adaptive, and maybe noticing some things shifting with that around Wednesday here. Nice to see Jupiter in support with both that Mercury and Sun, and so open-mindedness, possibilities, potential is great to allow to come in with the flexibility now that Jupiter is retrograde. All right, so everyone, have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter. We do get these videos released first before YouTube, and extra content not normally released on YouTube, like articles, podcasts, all kinds of true sidereal type of stuff. So if you haven't yet signed up, it's absolutely free. There's a link down below for that. But have a great week, everyone. Thank you again for all of your support, and I'll see you all next week for the next astrology forecast. Take care.